Welcome, everybody, to the first podcast. We don't have a name for it yet because we don't like to prepare things on the spot because that's just who we are. Anyway, but
you know the movie Bad Boys?
No.
What the Bad Boys?
I do not know Bad
Smith?
Boys.
You've never seen Bad Boys?
I've never seen Bad Boys.
We could be like the Lad Boys.
The Lad Boys.
We could be Lad Boys, Crab Boys.
Crap. No, I already got Crabcast.
Is Crabcast like a podcast? Because I've admittedly not watched it. I don't actually watch your videos. I'm purely only friends with you for clout.
Oh. Okay. Joke's
say
on
that
you. I ain't got dick.
I say that after having seen most of your videos at this point.
No, Crabcast is something that I started with some of my friends here in Jacksonville, and it's probably the most unfiltered you'll ever see me.
Damn.
If you are interested in my content in the slightest.
We don't got filters in this. We get you pure.
Oh no,
unleaded.
not with the people I record with. We're bad, but you know,
bad to the bone, dude.
Yeah, if Crabcast is kind of like my escape from any other serious content that I make, or at least like what form of serious it is. But we're getting off topic. This podcast is about video games because every time Jacob and I get on the Discord chat, we just end up talking about game design for God knows how long. So I figured, hey, we might as well just put this out there. Maybe
we can
some of our
bottle this up
might be.
and sell it for content.
I can't sell shit, man.
But yeah, how are you doing, Daniel?
I'm great.
Mr. Ender. Sorry, I should use your proper name.
I don't care. It's fine. You can call me Danny.
Right,
you know, when I streamed Gigantic, someone asked in chat if my name was Tyler. I said I looked like a Tyler.
Oh yeah, Gigantic's back, isn't it?
It is. It officially comes back April 9th.
Oh,
and it is
dude.
like the only MOBA I've actually fully enjoyed.
I played that game in beta. That's one of those very few games that I played that just never happens that I played in beta. I played 3 games so far that have technically been in beta but never actually came out. Because I played Gigantic. I played Fable Legends. I don't even know if anyone remembers Fable Legends.
I forgot about Fable Legends.
Yeah, because it basically was replaced by Fable Heroes, which was similar.
I don't even remember that one.
Yeah, Fable Legends. If you don't know Fable Legends, that was originally going to be a co-op. It was going to be a co-op Fable multiplayer thing with asynchronous multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
It was like 4 people would play as the party members, each one being a specific class.
Right, it was like a dungeon master type of thing.
Yeah, and then the enemy was dungeon master, and they would get to use their tablet because we were promoting Xbox Smart Glass, the coolest feature.
Oh my god, that just unlocked a fucking memory. I used to use that shit when I played Halo Reach.
I used it.
Holy shit!
I actually did use it for like 1 game. I think I used it to dick around in Watch Dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Because they had the whole like, you can connect your smart device and use it to make the cops attack people.
No, it was stupid broken in Halo because so I actually had an iPad growing up. I saved up my money and was able to buy one. And what it would do is it would show you like the map layout and like where all the weapons spawned, and it would keep track of your position as you played, so you could like.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah, you could just monitor where all the power weapons were at, and like it gave you time limits. It showed you where vehicles are.
Oh, that's really
if
good.
If you had it, it was fucking broken. Like the only thing it didn't do is show you enemy positioning, which honestly, like if that was the case, there would be.
No, that'd be absurd.
That was unnecessary.
That would be so
shit.
absurd.
Yeah.
All right.
So it was really helpful when like new maps came out because I'd already had the layout and knew where everything was.
Yeah. So that I played Gigantic, I played Fable Legends, and then the last one I played was Hyenas. Remember Hyenas?
I don't remember Hyenas.
Exactly.
Oh.
That was canceled last year. I was in the beta for like a year or so. I was in the alpha in the beta. It was an extraction shooter made by the guys who made Alien Isolation.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of the most obnoxious games I've ever played. It was going for this punk aesthetic, but like it felt very insincere. They had some decent ideas. Like it had this anti-grav feature that was like, what if Lawbreakers was good?
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you remember Lawbreakers. I know most people like to forget it. But yeah.
It sounds familiar.
That was Cliffy B's game with Boss Key Studios, the group that would eventually go on to make Radical Heights, the most short-lived battle royale since, what was it called? There was one that had a sequel that, like, the sequel died and he just went back to making the first one again. What was it? It's so nothing that I don't even remember. Damn. Alright, but enough of the bullshit. Let's get to the bottom line.
I've got my conversation beer.
I believe D3 Entertainment once said that Sonic the Hedgehog is one of the most attractive characters in video gaming. Right before talking about the top 10 hottest Sonic female characters. I don't know if you've seen that video.
I have, but I've only seen like the edited and it goes down to the breakdown of the females. But why does he think he's the most attractive?
Because he's fast, he's blue, and he knows how to handle the females.
By running away from them. That's literally all he fucking does.
That video is a work of art. I love that video so much.
I hate it, and I hate everything it stands for.
Oh, I love it. It is the perfect encapsulation of Sonic cringe. It's perfect. This is coming from me, the king of cringe.
Yo, no, you are nowhere near the king of cringe.
I'm pretty cringy. I don't know.
No, we could all be kind of cringy, but compared to the entirety of the Sonic fandom, you are pretty tame.
I mean, yeah, but like, Sonic fandom is like a wide range. You got to get people like Tyson Hess, who were so deep in the trenches they ended up working for Sega and saving the Sonic movie, or you get D3 Entertainment, who makes works of art that scare everyone away because people aren't real enough for it.
I'm like the most in between Sonic fan probably out there. I can't stand it, but I still play it. And I have to get, like, as cringe as the fandom is, I have to give them props because, god damn it, they are the most passionate motherfuckers out there with all the demos they make using the likeness, all the fan projects. Like, it's crazy what they can do. Like, they essentially just keep the franchise going. If it wasn't for the fandom, Sonic would have died out years ago.
It is genuinely, and this is actually right, that statement right there is actually very more apt than you think, considering the research we did going to this. Yeah, no, like the Sega's pro fan game thing when it comes to Sonic has been kind of a breath of fresh air for fans because it really just shows like a benefit to having a dedicated community. Like they very clearly care, and it's nice. It's something like we can talk about Nintendo trying to send the Yakuza to your house if you even like use Mario's name in vain.
Imagine if Game Freak let the Pokemon fans run wild. Like,
oh god, no.
Holy shit. Pal World would be the least of their worries.
Oh yeah.
Holy shit. We already had like amazing like the Pokemon Fusion game and then like Pokemon Uranium version. That were like instantly taken down, but still they were true to the source material and they were fucking great.
We had Anime Girl Pokemon.
Oh, that was not. Yeah, no, I don't like that one.
We have weird fan translated Pokemon. There's Pokemon's one of those weird things. Like it's not something I'm into, but I can understand the appeal. But
also Poke MMO. That shit's awesome.
Right, I forgot that was a thing. I completely forgot. Hey, you want me to like expose my balls as like a fake Pokemon fan?
Sure.
My favorite Pokemon game is Gale of Darkness on the GameCube.
Isn't that the super rare one?
I think Coliseum might be the rare one, but I'm not sure.
It's the one with like the shadow looking Pokemon.
Yeah, Shadow Lugia.
Yeah, that's the one that's like really hard to find and also like stupid expensive.
My cousin has that GameCube, and I was so tempted for years. I tried to convince him to let me buy it from them. I was offering like hundreds of dollars. They wouldn't sell it to me. I think they just threw it away at one point, and I'm so upset about that.
That's such a waste.
But I mean, like, look, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I guess,
at this point.
but still,
it only keeps me up at night. It's fine.
I have like a soft spot for like retro game consoles, especially like special edition ones. Like, holy fuck.
Oh no, yeah. I've never owned like one of the special consoles.
I knew someone who had like the Pokemon N64 with like the Pikachu foot being the on and off switch.
That's so sick. But yeah, SonicXShadow Generations.
Right, the main inspiration for this, because it is such a weird case to me, because I truly don't know if it's going to be bad or not.
So this is a weird topic for me, because I heard about this and I was initially like, who cares? Because I have a hot take. I don't like Sonic Generations.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of people thought it was a return to form as just a celebration.
No, it's not a return to form. What it is Sega playing it safe.
It is the safest it's been. Like, I think the only game safer than Sonic Generations is Sonic Superstars. Like, Superstars feels like new Super Mario Brothers. Like,
Superstars.
Like it feels like the old like Wii and DS new Super Mario Brothers games, which are good, but kind of basic. Like, they're just kind of doing the same thing again.
Right.
And especially after doing Sonic Mania, which was, let's go back to form, but do some cool shit with it.
Sonic Mania is by far my favorite Sonic game of all time.
Like,
it's so good.
Like, let me break kayfabe for a second, because I acknowledge that Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2 and a lot of 3D games are kind of jank.
Oh, they're beyond jank.
They're
pretty almost impossible to control.
Having finished, well, I don't want to go that far, but the...
Is that almost?
Sonic Mania is just good. It's just really good. It is. I have it on my Switch, and it's still probably my favorite game I have on my Switch right now. Like, it's excellent. I go back and play that a lot.
The DLC that they put out for it would make it that much better, but it honestly did. I love Mania mode.
I was so
Mania mode
excited.
is so fucking fun.
I was so excited that Mighty and Ray were back. I'm like, yo, Mighty and Ray from the arcade game no one cares about. I didn't play them in the arcade game. I never actually played the arcade game. It was a Japanese exclusive. I know them.
Let's go ahead and break down your top 5. What would you say your top 5 games are?
Top 5 games of all time or top 5 Sonic games?
Top 5 games of Sonic, the topic. We're going to try and stay as much on topic as we can. I know we've been kind of skewing off in the beginning, but it's honestly a good warm-up, so.
Gosh, tough.
You want me to go first then?
Yeah, you can go first. You go first while I think about it, yeah.
All right, number 5 is probably Sonic Unleashed for me.
You know, I'm going to be a big poser. I never actually finished Sonic Unleashed.
I don't blame you, because it is honestly a pain in the ass to get through. And it's not like and the reason why it's at the bottom is because it's not, the Werehog sucks. It sucks so hard. It's a cool idea, and honestly, I thought it looked cool, especially for that opening cinematic had no reason to look that fucking good.
It does
Holy
look sick.
shit.
It does look kind of sick though.
Like that's like almost Blizzard levels of quality.
No, it is Blizzard levels of quality. I believe it's this.
Yeah.
I believe that Blur Studios are the same. I believe that's Blur Studios who made the intro. Let me look that up actually.
It's so good.
Sonic
it looks incredible.
Unleashed.
Like, it was so ahead of its time.
Intro Studio. I believe that's Blur Studios, who, if I'm right, it was Blur Studios. I believe they also made all the cutscenes for Halo 2 Remastered.
Those were also really good.
Which are gorgeous. Yeah. Let me see if I can find their... Apparently they also did work on the second Sonic movie. Though,
that makes sense. Because those models did look pretty good. So... Yeah, and it's not because, like, if the Werehog wasn't there, it would honestly be a lot higher. The day missions in Sonic Unleashed were so good. They felt good to play, and I think, like, Unleashed and Generations are the only ones that actually feel good to play with Boost Era Sonic. That's just out of the games I played. I hear Colors feels pretty good.
No, I'd agree with Sonic Unleashed being, like, the best Boost game. If we're not counting Frontiers, that is. Like, I think Frontiers is its own beast.
No, Frontiers feels awful.
That's
we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a second.
Conversation later.
Yeah. So, because I know what you're thinking, but I want to explain my part in that. But,
I've got some beef with Sonic Frontiers. I'm willing to lay on the table.
All right, number 4, I'd have to say probably Heroes, and it's all off of nostalgia. That was the very first Sonic game I ever got into.
I was thinking about it. I don't think Heroes is in my top 5. Weirdly enough.
I don't think I've played as much Sonic games as you have, but I played a decent amount.
I think we've played more equal Sonic games than you think.
Possibly.
Yeah.
And it's literally all nostalgia. Looking back at it now, the game, it does not play well. But the team system was cool. The fact that all the stories, eventually, loped together was pretty cool. And it had a pretty cool way of finishing out its story, and that's all I'll get to on that one. 3 would have to be Sonic 2.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm. I think it's better than any of the original. I think it's the best one out of the original 3.
That's not a hot take. I'd say that's about a rated take.
Right. The only thing that 3 does better is that it has Knuckles and it has some like quality of life changes to it, but it was also like it was so over the place with like how it released.
Yeah, that's kind of how much I love. That's kind of why I love 3 is how much of a freak game it is with its weird level design and everything.
Yeah. Also, it's like it wasn't finished when it first came out.
No,
because the Knuckles part is an expansion.
I hope that doesn't become a theme in Sega's future.
Yeah. 2, I'd have to say. Ooh, actually, I didn't put much thought into number 2. What would be number 2?
It's tough, right?
It is tough.
Like, I can easily say like my number 1, but like actually going to the top 5 was like, oh, I never thought about that.
My number 1, I've already said it. Mania's number 1, so no surprise there.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
2 would probably have to be. I'd probably have to say Generations, because I just like the idea of it.
That's fair. That's fair.
It is safe, and that's why it worked. Because it was like, hey, here's all the best parts from all the Sonic games, except for Crisis City. I don't care. That was the worst part of 06. Crisis City sucked ass. Like,
Crisis City was a cool idea that felt bad to play.
It looked cool, and the story behind it's cool, but it was probably the best looking level, like concept-wise, out of 06, but the level itself was just fucking terrible.
Sonic 06 has been the subject of recent like Twitter discourse amongst the Sonic Twitter, because there are people who love 06 because it's conceptually really cool, and people who hate 06 because it actually sucks ass.
06 had a lot of good ideas, but it was just terribly made.
It had cool concepts. Conceptually, it was neat. But yeah, it didn't have much going for that. But yeah, you said number 2 was Sonic Generations, number 1 Sonic Mania?
Yep.
You have any more thoughts on Sonic Mania before we move on to my top 5? Because I think I have.
I really wish Sonic Mania is just proof that the fans keep it keeps the franchise alive.
Well said. Well said.
And also the music. Oh, fucking it's so goddamn good.
It's so good.
The casino levels are my favorite.
I have that soundtrack on vinyl.
Or like the Western
excellent.
Ones. Oh, you do?
Yeah, that is one of my 2 Sonic vinyls I own. Is Sonic Mania.
Fucking cool.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to send me a picture of that one later. Does it have like a special color?
It's I believe that one is. I don't know if I got the special color one. I remember I wanted to, but they were sold out. I think when they restocked, it was only in black.
Damn. Well.
I might have the blue ones actually. I might have the blue one. They're packed up right now because I've been moving recently, which is half the reason we're not using video cameras for this one.
Yeah, and I'm also not at my original setup, and it's why my audio sounds so bad, because I'm in the middle of a giant-ass living room of a newly renovated house.
You say that, but I think you sound really crisp. But I guess we'll see how Audacity picks it up, because maybe it's Discord just filtering really well. But we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, now it's my turn. Now you get to listen to my unfiltered opinions. Number 5 is actually the toughest one for me, because I think I'm going to cheat. I think I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to say it's a tie between Sonic Riders and Shadow the Hedgehog.
Oh my god, I forgot about Riders. Riders was so good.
Dude,
Zero Gravity sucked, though.
Yeah, well, you don't talk about that. There was one Sonic Riders game. But yeah, Sonic Riders 1 is...
Are you gonna bastardize the one that came out for the Kinect? What are you talking about? That game was fucking gold.
Sonic Free Riders, you mean?
It was terrible.
Yeah, no, this is garbage. You don't talk about them. No, Sonic Riders 1 is a little all over the place. Like, it's kind of busted in a lot of areas, and it doesn't feel like a normal racing game. But
the game has insane tech, though.
Dude, the game has insane tech.
The Sonic Riders tech, I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty cool.
It is one of those things where it's like, oh, this game kind of sucks ass, and then you get into it, and you're like, oh.
No,
this is the best.
It sucks until you learn how it works.
Yeah.
If you actually learn how Riders functions, it's actually one of the cleanest racing games out there.
It is closer to F-Zero than it is to Mario Kart, in the best way. It's not gonna hold your hand. It's gonna throw you to the wolves, and you better know how to fight wolves.
Oh yeah.
tied with it, and this is for weird reasons. Shadow the Hedgehog, which I'm just gonna open by saying Shadow the Hedgehog is a bad game.
Oh, it is.
That I love.
But I played the shit out of that game,
dude.
When I was a kid.
Friggin' I Am All of Me permanently seared into my brain. I will forget my brother and sister's faces before I forget the words to I Am All of Me.
Oh, it's
like it is so good. That intro, as I said earlier, I have a virus and threat protection. That intro is great when Shadow cocks that gun that shouldn't be cocked.
Yeah.
He pumps the MP5.
He pumps it. I thought it was like a stockless AK. That's what it looked like.
My headcanon is that he didn't know how it worked and accidentally broke it, and now he's just holding it together in hopes that no one notices.
And he's using his mind powers.
Yeah, it was. Okay, here's the thing I love, and I'm gonna talk about this a lot. Sonic the Hedgehog is a dangerous series, and what I mean by that is it tries to be weird. It tries to break its own conventions a lot, which I appreciate.
And I'll give it respect for that.
There's also one of the biggest problems with Sonic Team is that they never stick with a good thing. They always
I don't care what they
conventions.
decide to do with Sonic. Like they can change up his atmosphere all they want. I'm just tired of the game sucking.
No, yeah. That's the problem. It's like I love the idea for Sonic Forces. I wish it was a good game.
Yeah, I don't think they've ever necessarily flopped on the setting of any Sonic game, but every single one is
Superstars is kind of mid.
I haven't played that one, and it's not ringing a bell to me right now. Are you talking about? Is that the new 2D one?
That's the new 2D one, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's why, because
it's
everyone said it was fucking
looking.
mid as shit. And,
yeah, it's absurdly boring, which is the worst thing you could be as a Sonic game.
Yeah.
The best thing about
the soundtrack wasn't that great either, which, like, how do you fuck that up? That's like the one thing you get right every time.
The best thing about it is the fact that they introduce a new character who I like Trip. I like Trip a lot. And then they bring Fang, who I love. I love Fang so much. He's my baby. Love
also, really unfortunate how that game launched like 3 days before Mario Wonder.
Oh, dude, when I'm looking at them side by side, it's like, why does Mario Wonder look like a better Sonic game than Sonic Superstars? It's tragic.
No idea.
Anyway,
sorry,
go ahead.
No, you go for it. I'm gonna cut you off the mouth.
Sonic. So number 5 is a tie. I probably want to say Sonic Riders, but I feel like not talking about Shadow the Hedgehog. Oh, I didn't finish my thought about Shadow. Sorry. Shadow the Hedgehog's weird. They gave him a gun, gave him multiple path options. They made him say "damn" a lot.
Damn, Chaos Emerald.
And yeah, no, it's a bizarre game. Can we hold on for 1 second? I gotta feed my cat. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry.
I'm prepared. We'll be right back after he feeds his fucking cat.
Sorry, my cat was meowing at me angrily because his bowl was empty. I'm like, oh shit.
Is he fat?
No, he's not fat. He's very well toned. He exercises a lot.
That's good.
But yeah. So back to what I was saying. Yeah, Shadow the Hedgehog's a weird game. They gave him a gun. They made him say "damn" a lot. They made the animations really floaty and strange. And I kind of love that part.
He kind of stretched a lot.
Yeah, he did stretch a lot.
Like, he was really stretchy.
They gave you a weird morality system that is just hilariously dissonant.
And it was super easy to fuck up.
Oh, yeah, it really was.
Oh, my God. Like, if you had to be dedicated to the side missions if you wanted to be sure of the path. Otherwise, you were going to just finish it out of irritation, or you just couldn't figure out what to do.
Irritation
being going straight on the map.
Irritation being the biggest word. Introducing the idea of Black Doom, yeah, we all laugh at it. Let's get it out of the way. It's a funny name.
Creatures, get out of my sight.
Or just want to hear a censor bar over that. But yeah, no, like yeah, the introduction of the Black Arms aliens and their whole shtick. That's just really bizarre, and I kind of love it. It's goofy. It's goofy in all the best ways. The main soldier being like this heterochromic soldier gunman.
Oh my God.
The president having a framed picture of Sonic and Shadow on his desk, which I swear to God I will recreate in real life.
That is the funniest fucking thing.
It's so good. Why does he have it? Fun fact, actually, for my first game design project back when I was in school, I actually had that as one of the collectibles you had to find.
Sonic and Shadow picture.
Yeah, I photoshopped it into the. They cut it out in Photoshop and put it in Unity, and that was one of the things you had to find in my first game project.
That's hilarious.
It was very fun.
Please keep that in.
Yeah, keep it in the game project or
all of them.
That project's done. Like I can't do anything with that anymore. That was a Game Design 1 project. It was not great, but I was proud of it. It was such an asset reuse. Oh my god. Back on topic though, yeah, I'd probably lean more towards Sonic Riders as number 5, but I'd be remiss to not mention Shadow as just something.
Keep it as an honorable mention then.
It's worth noting.
Right,
number 4, let's talk about Sonic Adventure 1.
Never played it.
Sonic Adventure 1 is jankier than 2 by a lot. It's also an open world game.
Yeah, I remember
like you have
that.
a hub world to walk around, and you have 6 characters to play as. I am noted on my Twitter as being an avid Big the Cat defender. I like the Big the Cat levels because I like Sega bass fishing.
You are such a bastard.
I know what I am. I know what I am.
God.
No, but okay, you gotta understand. I grew up with Sega bass fishing on the PC, like just their PC port. So I played a ton of Sega bass fishing, and it's the same. It's exactly the same. So it's like, oh, I need to catch Froggy, and it's like, okay, I play Sega bass fishing. Hell yeah, let's go. Sonic Adventure 1's a tonal mess all around. Like, it's all over the place. Basically, it is... You're playing as Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, E102 Gamma, and Big the Cat on parallel storylines a la Pulp Fiction or that one part of La La Land. If you've seen either of those movies. Where it's basically like, oh yeah, you're going on separate storylines that intersect at times and occasionally contradict each other. And each level has its own theme. Sonic's levels are exactly what you'd expect. Get to the end of the level. He has the longest campaign. Knuckles is a version of the Knuckles levels in Sonic Adventure 2, but they're reusing Sonic's levels, so they feel worse.
That's weird.
But they have the same like ping system for finding the emeralds, except they don't have the TVs, if I remember right.
Mm-hmm.
There is the Amy levels, which are you need to escape from the big robot. That is your game mechanic. It's the same levels as Sonic, but you have to escape from a big robot whenever he shows up.
So are all these levels just rehashed? You just play through them
90% of them are rehashes. E102 Gamma has some unique ones. Amy has some unique ones. I think Knuckles gets one unique one. Bigs are all rehashed. Tails are all rehashed.
Damn.
The only main difference being the final boss fight's different.
They really do just be doing Tails dirty whenever they get the chance.
Tails gets
unfortunate.
Thankfully, Tails plays well in Sonic Adventure 1, unlike Sonic Adventure 2, which we'll get to.
Oh god, no.
But yeah, it's all done together, and then you get your final Supersonic section where you're fighting against Perfect Chaos, which is a whole can of worms involving time travel that I don't need to go into for the case of this conversation. But yeah, I love Sonic Adventure 1. It set the foundation. Sonic Adventure DX, however, sucks ass, and I would not wish it upon my worst enemy. If you're gonna play that game, play the Dreamcast version. It's better than all the other versions ever.
In other words, put on the pirate hat.
I would never publicly advocate for piracy. So my number 3. My number 3. I mean, emulation is legal.
Number 3.
No, number 3. Sonic Frontiers. Let's talk about Sonic Frontiers.
Okay, so my whole gripe with Sonic Frontiers is that it doesn't feel like each area was spent with the proper amount of care. Because I will give you the defense that Sonic in the overworld feels great, and the way they structured it is really cool. Yeah, it looks a bit weird how there's just floating structures everywhere. Yeah. But if you think of Sonic and how he moves, and the best way, like the most fun way to play him is to try and just make him do all this cool shit. And there's no way you can make the map look natural and have him be as fun to play at the same time.
Yeah.
It's near impossible. So the fact that they just went full force, fuck it, we're just going to have floating rails everywhere and random bounce pads, fine. That is completely okay because it works well and it actually is really fun. And the whole concept of, like, his combat feels good. It's simple, but it's snappy because of how fast he is. However, then when you get to the cyberspace levels, the game becomes an absolute chore to play.
So
it feels like you're constantly like there's like a hook on your back, and at certain moments when you're trying to chain together certain movement options, especially in the 2D parts, it feels like someone's just instantly yanking you and stopping you right in your tracks.
So the 2D
and it
parts
feels fucking terrible.
The 2D parts, I actually fully agree. I think the 2D parts in a lot of the 3D Sonic games are kind of miserable because they're trying to be something they aren't. Like that's why Sonic Mania works.
What Generations and Unleashed did right about the 2D sections with Boost Era Sonic is that they didn't stop his momentum. He kept his speed.
Yeah.
It feels like you're constantly being yanked back in
It does. I'll fully admit to that. And thankfully,
and it also like some of the moves don't chain together like they should. Like you have to input trying to do an air dash is like the most 50-50 shit ever.
It can be a little
because sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, and it fucks up my times. And I'm trying to get the S rank on each one because I'm a completionist until I get pissed off.
It's fair. Frontiers is the weirdest Sonic game I think they've made in the last 10 years. Right. As it is not a normal Boost Era game. It has its weird, except for like the legacy levels that we've talked about before. The game is like this weird. I don't want to say Breath of the Wild because it's kind of become such a blanket term, but that's kind of the closest thing it is.
It is Sonic Breath of the Wild, and I'm pissed off that the developers actually got offended at that because it's almost shameless on how close it is environmentally to Breath of the Wild. The only thing that is different is that it's a lot more moody because Breath of the Wild was pretty bright in a majority of its scenarios. It got dark when it needed to, but that's like when you were in like infected temples and shit.
Yeah.
But overall, Breath of the Wild was very bright and colorful, and Sonic Frontiers, at least in the starting area, I know there's like the desert area. I haven't really got much farther past that, but like it's pretty. It? No, I didn't beat it.
Oh, fascinating. Okay, because like the last area is like the coolest parts of the game.
I'm sure it is. And
the only problem is you have to get past the worst part of the game, which is the pinball section, which I'll talk
about. But it's pretty moody. But
yeah.
It's open world, big grassy fields, ancient architecture. There's weird temples and shit. It's Breath of the Wild. You just put your stupid hedgehog in it. Like,
I mean, you're not wrong.
Just embrace it. Like, there's tons of people that get inspired by games all the time. That's how That's how we continue to get good video games. There's nothing wrong that you took inspiration from something.
Yeah, I think it's very silly to try and deny inspiration when your character is literally a 2D platformer right after Super Mario Brothers.
It's okay. We all know you made little blue furry Goku.
Also, Dragon Ball exists. Rest in peace, Akira Toriyama. You were the
R.I.P.
GOAT. But yeah, it is such a bizarre game in its setup and gameplay department. Like making it like a kind of a character action game. Right. It's such a strange process, even if most of the moves barely work. Like I like that combat, but some of it does feel like mega jank.
Especially when you're trying to climb up, like when you're trying to run up the bosses. They're constantly moving around, and Sonic's trying to like magnetically stick to it, but it also doesn't know if he's falling or not. It's fucking terrible.
The ones that really get to me are the moves where it's like dodge and press this button at the same time, and sometimes it just doesn't work, or you overpress it and it just dodges out of your attack. Stuff like that is annoying, especially in the DLC, which I'm going to try not to talk too long about the DLC, but boy, I got some gripes with it.
I'm sure.
But yeah, all that together, it's very bizarre. I actually really like the boost levels a little bit, mainly because of what I realized they were doing. Like at first, like, yeah, these are short and sweet and to the point. And then I realized what they were as I'm running down this long ramp downwards, going up these stairs around this little half pipe area. I'm like, is this a Sonic Adventure 2 level? And I realized all the levels in the games are like rudimentary recreations of old Sonic levels. And I was really excited. It is nostalgia bait, but it's working because I have nostalgia for it.
I hate how that's like their main focus too every single time though. Like when they make I'm ready for something new, and I get that the overworld was like the newest part of it.
Yeah, overworlds and boss fights are new.
And it was bold approach, but like just go through and through with it. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I get you. They were going back to what they know for like the big meat of it, but like the stuff that was new, I actually really did like, even if it was a little jank, and if the pinball section is one of the worst things I've ever had to do in a video game. The pinball section sucks, by the way. It is the worst. It's so bad. The less I talk about it, the better.
Is it like the overworld that's a pinball machine?
No, there is a required, like, this is a main quest line mini game in which you have to play pinball, except it feels bad, and you need to get 70 billion points, and you only have 3 lives to do it, and the pinball machine is built bad, and it controls badly. Like, remember how Sonic Spinball controlled?
Yeah.
Worse.
Oh, God.
In Sonic Adventure 1, there was a pinball minigame. It was kind of all over the place in quality. Like, it was kind of jank, but, like, you can tell there's a lot of work to put into it. This is a basic-ass pinball game, and it feels like shit.
Oh,
God. It's garbage to play.
That does sound bad.
Yeah,
I can't wait to get to that part.
It is required to beat it. It was the worst part of the game pre-DLC. Because DLC. But, yeah. The boss fights, I loved to death. I think it's specifically just because the soundtrack for the boss fights.
I'm just here to hear Undefeatable.
Dude,
fucking banger. I work out to that song.
Did you beat the desert level yet?
No.
Okay. Get to the beat the desert boss, because that might be my favorite song of the game. Breakthrough It All is so sick.
I'll have to listen to that.
Yeah, if you don't want to, just like find them on Spotify. They're on there.
Yeah.
Like Breakthrough It All and Unbeatable are on my workout playlist. Like they're just
there you go.
So hype. They're kind of edgy. Like putting screamo music in a Sonic game is kind of silly, but it's so good. It fits so well for the fight.
I would play that song for people and be like, "Holy shit, what band is this?" I'm like, "Oh, it's this one," but you're not gonna believe where it came from. Like initially, they're like, "What? Like this is from the fucking new Sonic game that just came out."
Yeah, no, it's
like, what
so
the
weird.
fuck?
I
like
love
it always threw people for a left hook. It was crazy.
Most importantly, and this, I'm gonna try and make this the last thing I talk about, Sonic Frontiers. I would like to talk about the DLC, but I feel like I can basically go like, man, the DLC sucks to play. I wish Knuckles didn't feel like shit to play as. I'm just gonna cover that there. The one thing I really want to talk about though that really cements it in my top 5 is the writing. It is written primarily, I believe, by Ian Flynn, who was the writer of the late Archie Sonic comics, who would later return for the IDW Sonic comics. Ian Flynn is not a perfect writer, but he shows why people love the series. People love the characters. Like all the characters are a blast to hang out with, which is why games like The Death of Sonic the Hedgehog, the visual novel, were very well received, because it was just hanging out with the characters. People like those characters. They're fun. And Ian was really good at pairing up characters that you weren't expecting for comics. So they would just have team-ups you wouldn't expect, and they were really cool. And he shows that he loves the characters in the game. I mean, he makes reference to the IDW comics. He makes reference to just about every single game in the series, like including the Black Arms, including Sonic Adventure 2, including Sonic 06. Like everything.
That is kind of weird. It is very rare where they actually make ties back to past games.
And
probably because they don't know where to go with it, because Sonic's lore is just scattered all over the place.
And they've tried to clean it up by being like, oh yeah, the South Islands are where all the Sonic shit happens, and all the human shit
at this point,
is
just make it a
else.
Multiverse. Like there's no way around it. Like,
oh no, yeah, there's definitely a multiverse thing going on. I mean, for shit, Sonic Prime's all about that. The Netflix TV show that's just okay.
Oh yeah, I didn't watch that.
It's fine. It's not good. It's just fine. The version of Metal Sonic, version of Metal Sonic really just like grinds my gears a little bit, which is ironic, all things considered.
All right, let's get to your top 2, and then we'll talk about Generations.
One last thing. Sorry, one last thing.
Yeah.
Acknowledging that the writing has been bad for a long time in the writing of the game is kind of great. There's a scene in Sonic Forces in which Tails is basically like surrounded by robots, like normal jobber-ass robots. And he just cowers in fear, being like, "Oh God, Sonic, help me!" And it's like, this is the kid that disarmed a nuke in Sonic Adventure 1. Like, Tails is not like a coward. Like, why is he like this? And they make reference to that in Sonic Frontiers, being like, that was really stupid of me. I broke down. And Sonic's like, I mean, yeah, but you did all this shit. And he's like, well, then at least I'm terribly inconsistent. And I lost my mind at that. To be like, oh, we're acknowledging that the writing's been bad. Okay. And we're having actual character moments about that. Status quo things change in Sonic Frontiers. Like, just being like, Tails being like, yeah, I kind of need to just go my own way for a little while, kind of figure myself out by the end of it is really nice. It's cool. Also, I like Sage. Sage is a good character. Anyway, that's the last one I'm going to talk about.
All right. 2 and 1.
Number 2, Sonic Mania. I think we talked enough about that.
Yep.
It's just great. It's just stellar.
It's fantastic.
And number one, Sonic Adventure 2.
You poor man.
Love
those
Sonic
rose
Adventure 2.
tinted goggles are stapled to your temples, man, and they are never coming off.
Sonic Adventure 2 is the swan song of Sonic, quite literally. When it came out, Sega was my cat is sniffing my microphone. When Sonic Adventure 2 came out,
didn't hear it.
When Sonic Adventure 2 came out, it was literally as Sega was dying. The Dreamcast was not making the money it needed. And this might be the last Sonic game they ever get to make. Sonic Adventure 2 might be the last Sonic game ever. Which is why, spoilers for a 20-year-old game, Sonic Adventure 2 ends with Shadow dying, and on this really sad and somber note. It's because that was it. They didn't know what the future of Sega was. The character that rivaled Mario for a long time, a lot of people don't recognize that Sonic actually was selling more than Mario at one point in history.
Yeah, 2D Sonic was a force to be reckoned with.
93 was a crazy year.
Oh, yeah.
But that, like, all of that sort of just going away, the Sonic craze, the Macy's Day Parade, that character just dying, that might have been it. So Sonic Adventure 2 was their farewell letter. And they combined the weirdest, strangest, all over the place ideas and made this strange game that is not perfect. Like, I say it is a top 5 game, and I stand by that. I love that game to death. Or sorry, top 10 game, not top 5 game. That's a top 10 game for me, and I stand by that because I would rather a game that controls a little jank but is doing cool things than a game that is perfectly controlled and does nothing to speak about other than that. And what Sonic Adventure 2 does, like, its actual level design, its music, the characters, the story, which is batshit. Yeah. The only story that I think is more batshit than it is Shadow. The Sonic Adventure 2 goes off the rails in a lot of ways, and in the ways that make it memorable. And if we're not just talking about that, like, the Chow Garden is such a cool side thing to do. It's so much fun. I kind of
wish they would just make it its own standalone game.
I really would. Dude, a gacha Chow Garden game would probably just drain me of money. Like, just on the phone.
Oh, God. No, don't give them that idea. I'm talking about, like a Viva Pinata type thing. Like,
yeah. I mean, that's what I prefer. But, like, if they were to make it, like, a free-to-play game where it's like, oh, you can buy cosmetics if you want.
No,
like,
don't do that.
Like, that would...
Don't do that.
I'd be kind of sad, but at the same time, it's like, I'd buy the shit out of that.
You and many others.
Yeah. Chow Garden was awesome. The going back to levels and doing the extra objectives was great. It's legitimately, like, Shadow kind of sacrificing himself at the end was legitimately really heartbreaking for me as a kid. And it's cheesy. I just beat the game again, like, today before we got here, just to make sure I was able to, back my stuff up.
Right.
But, like, it's still got these moments that, like, really hit me. And it's cheesy, it's goofy, but at the same time, I can really kind of feel where the developers were at. Where it was just like, yeah, this is our last chance.
Damn.
We've got to leave our mark.
All right, well, it's time for some character develop from yours truly.
Yeah.
I actually did not know that about Sonic Adventure 2's history. And hearing that, it actually did kind of shift my perspective a bit on the game and actually did put some more respect on it for me. Like, that's really cool. And honestly, like, if you're going to go all out with a bang, that was the way to do it. And I'll also give Sonic Adventure 2 the defense of, for the time and for the way games have changed over time, it was good. Like, I'm sure if I had that game when I was a kid, I would have loved it. Yeah. Because I loved Sonic when I was a kid. I used to run around like him. I actually learned how to roller skate because of Shadow the Hedgehog. Like, and I'll take full pride on that. I don't care how cringe it is. The fact that a video game actually made me go outside and learn a skill, to some as daunting as like roller skating, because it's tough at first for anybody.
I would also like to mention that the only reason that Sonic grinds rails is because of a brand deal with soap shoes.
But it was cool.
A shoe brand that let you grind rails in real life. That's so silly. So what if I told you? Told you that all that stuff about the swan song of Sonic? What if I told you I just made that all up right now?
Did you?
You're about to make me look like but like for a second. I
was about to get really pissed at you. I'm like, you motherfucker.
Dude, that whole time when you were like doing like that, the time for my character development, I'm like, oh, dude, I could really ruin his day.
Don't you?
No, that is all real. That is all real.
Okay.
That is all real.
But finishing my thought on that.
Yeah.
So that is actually a pretty cool bit of knowledge about the game. And for the time, I will give you, like, I see the reason why people are nostalgic for it. Music, banging. The Sonic levels and Shadow levels are, they're jank, but they are the best levels in that game. They are still fun.
Undeniable.
The Knuckles levels, I'm indifferent about.
Those pyramid levels can go to hell, though.
Oh, hell yeah. Fuck that. The Tails and Eggman levels, we don't want to talk about those.
Listen,
they're all bad.
You can just remove those levels from the game.
Yeah, if you remove those, honestly, that's the remaster.
You can
remove Tails.
You can keep the Tails and Eggman fights against each other. You can get rid of everything else. It's fine.
Yeah.
Actually, okay, weirdly enough, having played through it again, I actually like the Eggman levels a lot more than the Tails levels.
That's not saying much.
Like, the Eggman levels feel like they are thematically appropriate, whereas the Tails levels feel like filler.
They probably got to those second.
Maybe.
So after the tragedy of Tails, like maybe Eggman was like a bit of a refinement.
They found Tails on that bench and said, "Oh no, you gotta get him out."
Don't you dare bring that up! Don't you fucking dare! That is not why we're here.
Oh, censoring that. But no, yeah. It's weird. So it's weird when you play the Dark Story, because the Dark Story is supposed to be the hard mode.
Right.
Like, straight up. Like, the Sonic levels are a lot more simple, and the Dark levels are like, what if this Eggman level is like a Tails level, but it's all dark and only lights up when you shoot something? And then you got the Shadow levels that have like the weird springs that you have to hit multiple times to go up, like Sky Railway, which is my favorite level in the entire game. And then you have all the Rouge stuff, which is a choice.
Today's.
The Rouge pyramid levels are way better, but every other Rouge level is just worse than the Knuckles equivalent. Yeah, I will say I do have a playlist on. I have a joke.
I know
playlist.
You do. Oh, I know you do.
I've told you my Songs to Have Sex 2 playlist, which is just 69 plays of Aquatic Mime.
You're fucking terrible, man.
Look, imagine, babe. That was pretty cool. What's the next song in your playlist? You're not gonna believe this. Boing, 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 boing. Everybody flow with me. It's Knuckles. We're an aquatic mine.
Jesus Christ.
It's the best. It's that song is so sick. The hip hop tracks are really good though. They really are.
Oh yeah, no, the music is great.
Like everyone talks about like Cityscape, Live and Learn. Those are great, but the Knuckles tracks are all fire.
Oh, the Knuckles tracks are great. All of them are good. Like no complaints here.
That's my other Sonic vinyl. I have the Sonic Adventure 2 soundtrack, which cost me a lot of money.
You overpaid that. You overpaid for that.
I don't think I did. That was one of my holy grail vinyls. Like, that was one of the ones I'm like, if I find this, I'm buying it immediately.
You probably could have waited for 8-bit to restock, and you probably would have got it for about $100.
Maybe. No afterthought, just maybe.
Yeah.
The last Holy Grail vinyl I have left is Metal Gear Rising. If I can find that vinyl, that's just perfect. I have all my Holy Grails.
Well, best of luck to you. But despite all the respect I have for Sonic Adventure 2, I can't deny its faults. Like, it is.
Oh no, yeah. Look,
it did not age well, and there's a lot of games I've played that did not age well. Assassin's Creed 1 being being one of them. That game
I need to
feels
finish
like dog
Assassin's
shit.
Creed 1. I actually really like Assassin's Creed 1.
I like it too, and that's another game I played a shit ton of when I was younger. But like going back to it, even actually just playing any Assassin's Creed game these days just feels jank. It doesn't matter which one.
Dude,
I think
4 feels really good still.
4 feels okay.
3, despite all my problems with it, actually does have really good combat.
Unity feels okay. 3 is okay.
Unity, I just hated the way combat felt in that game. It feels awful.
I think Revelations is the best one. But this is a podcast about
I've never
Sonic.
heard someone else who said that. Because I love Revelations.
Revelations is fucking great, but we'll probably get to that in a different podcast.
That'll be episode 2.
Yeah,
why Assassin's Creed is the best game series ever.
It's fucking terrible.
but yeah.
That would actually be a very interesting topic to delve into because I actually have a lot of knowledge of Assassin's Creed. But
I have a long-running joke with my friends that I'll just like go up to them at like a party if I'm drunk, and I'll be like, "Hey, do you know I played every Assassin's Creed, even the mobile ones?"
Oh, you poor man.
And the joke is I haven't, but still, I did play the iPhone Altair's Journey Assassin's Creed, the 2D 3D platformer that's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, back to what we were talking about before. I believe the point was SonicXShadow Generations.
Right, and this is going to be our last topic.
Yeah.
So now that we've gotten all of the our viewpoints on Sonic, our opinions on its design and where it's been at, and I can see your reasoning on why Sonic Generations isn't as good as it should be, or at least in your viewpoints. I get it. It's very safe, and the fact that they needed to rehash their shit again to get some form of respect out of the community, that's kind of shitty because it just shows that they're not confident in like branching out, at least at that time. Now obviously with Frontiers, they're starting to get their guns back, and I believe Frontiers is going to
Sonic is weird and stupid.
Yeah. I think with Frontiers, especially after the atrocity that was Forces, they're starting to be more confident in themselves again, which is good because I think the next game might actually be decent.
Oh, dude. Okay, so SonicXShadow Generations, I've talked about I don't like Sonic Generations all that much.
Yeah.
I am very, very interested in playing SonicXShadow Generations because...
I am too.
The first thing you showed me when you show that trailer, other than the fact that it's Sonic Generations remake, is the Bio-Lizard from Sonic Adventure 2. The
is
last
there a new trailer out
boss?
for it?
No, the trailer for... Did you not see the trailer for SonicXShadow?
I saw it, but is there a new one? Because I don't remember seeing the Bio-Lizard.
No, the Bio-Lizard's like one of the first things you see. Like they showed off the final core, which is like the last Shadow level in Sonic Adventure 2. They show Black Doom.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, what do you mean Black Doom shows up again? I thought we wouldn't talk about this again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it doesn't look like it's going to be like, oh, we're going to go through all your best adventures. Shadow looks like he's going through a freaking nightmare.
He does.
And it's like, it shows him, like, punching the Bio-Lizard, and I'm like, yo, we're being weird. We're talking about the cringe. Let's talk about the cringe. Like, that's what I want. I want Sonic to be weird again.
I am afraid. So I want to start off with some of my fear points.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm afraid it's just going to be Sonic Generations tacked on with about 2 hours of Shadow content.
That is kind of what I think it's going to be.
And the worst part about it is they're probably going to sell it for $60 to $70.
And the worst part is I'd probably pay for $60. I wouldn't pay $70. I have standards, but I'd probably pay the $60.
I would probably pay the $60 as well, but it'd have to be on a good week. But I can't say it doesn't pique my interest. I also don't know like where they're gonna go with it. Like every time Shadow's brought up, I can never tell if he's good or bad.
What do you mean? Like, do you mean like is he a hero or a villain, or do you mean is he a good character or a bad character?
Both.
Okay.
Because he has a cool past, I guess. The reason why he was brought in was cool, like, and all the lore you got with the Shadow the Hedgehog game made him way more interesting. But ever since Shadow the Hedgehog passed, I felt like they never knew what to do with him. they either like brought him back because like, ooh, look at Shadow, or they put him in because like, oh well, we got to have Shadow in there. But they'd never know what to do. Like in 06, it felt like he was just kind of there. In Generations, he felt like he was just kind of there, and he was only there to reference, oh, remember the fight in Adventure 2? Yeah, you love that shit, don't you? You little bitch, give us money. But
he was supposed to die. Like he was dead in Sonic Adventure 2.
They never confirmed. Like, did they confirm in Shadow the Hedgehog that he was still alive?
They actually do confirm in Shadow the Hedgehog that he is the original Shadow. It's a line of dialogue that you might not even get in the final boss, but it's Shadow going like, I looked up your files, you are the original Shadow, or something like that.
But it doesn't make sense because there's also a fucking ending in that game where he's like, that bastard died in the flames a while ago. I'm just the best android. I'm like...
Yeah, it's Shadow the Hedgehog's a mess. I love it, but it's a mess.
Right.
But no, yeah, like Shadow is a baffling character because the whole idea is it's about personal identity, and he has one quest that by the end of Sonic Adventure 2 he realizes he doesn't identify with anymore. Because I don't know if you remember this, all the bad things that happened in Sonic Adventure 2 were Shadow's fault. Like, Eggman did not really set up any plans. That was all Shadow. Like, Eggman set up the egg golem, and he broke Shadow out, and those are the only two things that were his idea. Everything else was, like, pretty much Shadow's plan. Like, he knew what would happen if he activated the Eclipse Cannon. He was just
he didn't know what he was supposed to do. He was just told by the fucking guys, like, hey,
no.
Bad.
He did know. That's the thing. In Sonic Adventure 2, he knew exactly what he was doing, and it wasn't until the end where he's like, Maria wouldn't want this, and basically goes back on what he was doing. Like, it's bizarre. Like, he's kind of all over the place. He's a character who, like, very clearly, like, wants his own personal revenge because the cop shot his sister?
Like, so he has, like, all this complex shit going on.
Yeah.
And I feel like once they figured him out after Shadow the Hedgehog, they just didn't know what to do with him. And now, with this trailer, and you see Sonic do the jump. He does the cross thing with Shadow's like, ooh,
yeah, which is like, yeah, Sonic Adventure 2.
But Sonic looked concerned.
Yeah.
He was like, whoa, he's here again. Oh no, we're in trouble now. And he's up there looking all menacing and shit. And then it just like breaks into his gameplay. I'm like, okay, is he bad again? Like, what the fuck? Like, I thought in Forces he was like confirmed to be like, yeah, he's not a dick anymore because he was actually helping out or some shit and even had his own episode. But like, he's so wishy-washy.
My favorite version of Shadow is probably... this is going to be really weird. It's probably his version from 06.
Yeah.
Because Shadow in 06 was like, yeah, I'm now a government agent.
He was kind of a badass in 06.
I'm here to do missions. I'm not the hero. I'm doing my job.
I really liked when he put Silver in his place. I'm not gonna lie.
No, that's like Sonic 06 is kind of terrible, but like admittedly him stopping time just to kick Silver in the head was so good.
Lick my balls.
Lick my balls. Oh, no, it's so good. I love it. I love it so much. It's cringe, but I love it.
I thought like that was probably one of his coolest moments because literally you see this psychic hedgehog come in. He's like he's saying it's no use to Sonic, flinging him out of the map, destroying many save games of people trying to play that game.
I think, weirdly enough, the best way to encapsulate that whole "what are we doing with Shadow" thing is from Sonic Boom, the TV show.
Oh God!
Where Shadow shows up and everyone's just like, he's so cool, like the whole time. It's like, yeah, no, they don't know what to do with him, so they're just gonna talk about how cool he is.
Basically.
And that's the problem. Is like Shadow's whole thing is like he's kind of fracked up, and I love him for that.
I get that, but like, pick a lane. Yeah, is what I'm saying.
And that's the problem is they don't know what to do with him. Even Shadow the Hedgehog, the game, kind of represents that about how he doesn't know what he is.
That's the thing with Shadow the Hedgehog, though. You could pick your lane, and that's what made it cool.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, there was a canon ending to it, but you could also play out basically every what-if situation that there could have been.
The reason it's a what-if situation is because Shadow himself was like, I don't know what my deal is, and I'm trying to figure that out. And I think that's a really cool theme. The problem is it's also being written by writers who are not the best at what they do. Mm-hmm. But as a character, he's super endearing. I mean, his design's great. David S. Humphrey does a great job in Sonic Adventure 2, Shadow the Hedgehog, and Sonic Heroes. The voice acting is stilted, but I think his voice is legitimately the best Shadow's ever sounded.
His voice was the best in Shadow the Hedgehog.
Which I'm glad I can mention this now. David S. Humphrey recently changed his profile picture and tweeted about it, which is a picture of him, a picture of Shadow the Hedgehog in the background, and a blurry script that he's apparently reading from, which tells me either he's going to show up in SonicXShadow Generations in some form, or he's going to be in the third movie.
Wait, is he coming? So, like, the good voice actor's coming back?
For something.
Please, just let him voice in SonicXShadow. Just let him.
Or the third movie. I'd be cool with him coming back for the third movie.
Let him do both. Honestly, just keep him around because he's the only one that's been able to do the voice the best.
Some people look. No, I'm not gonna pretend. Like, I respect the voice actor who plays him now, but he's not.
He sounds like he's trying to be. He sounds like he's trying to be a really shitty version of Vegeta. Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead, like original Z Vegeta.
That's the problem. Is friggin' Sega has mandated that Shadow just be Vegeta. Which is why in the
Shadow's not Vegeta.
Which is why in the first half of the IDW comics, Shadow is insufferable to the point where Ian Flynn publicly stated he does not like writing for Shadow anymore because they made him suck. Which is why it was a big deal when Team Dark from Sonic Heroes was recanonized. Because like, oh yeah, they're letting back on the things a little bit, the mandates. So they're actually able to write him like a normal character again. And hey, Shadow in the second half of the IDW comics is kind of sick. He's kind of rad because he's
I wish I knew what you were talking about.
Yeah,
I really did because I've only played the games. I've never done the comics. I've never watched the shows. I've seen like tidbits of
spoilers.
Sonic X or whatever the fuck that show was on 4Kids, and it was fucking terrible.
That show's just ass. Slight spoilers for the Sonic comics, the IDW Sonic comics. I'm
never gonna read them. So
there is a arc called the Metal Virus Saga. It is their version of The Walking Dead. There is a virus that is covering people in liquid metal and turning them into robots. If you touch one, you're infected and you die. Sonic is infected from the beginning, however, is able to beat it back by essentially his speed is actually like kind of rubbing it off of him, but it's slowly and surely.
Of course, that's the reason. It makes sense. Though.
But it means that he has to leave sections to be like, I gotta run this off of me. But it's also not. It's losing effectiveness as he keeps doing it. And it's like an actual big deal. It's super good. Shadow finds this out and just immediately gets himself infected and becomes a zombie. And it's so stupid. It was a Sega mandated thing that happened, and it sucks ass. And then later on, when Shadow comes back with Team Dark, which is E102 Omega or E101 Omega, and Rouge the Bat reforming Team Dark for Sonic Heroes. It's a big deal because now he's acting like Shadow from those games again and not this weird asshole. And it's great. And it's like, yeah, no, we like the kind of weird broody asshole who like has kind of a heart of gold at the end of the day more than we like this guy who's like just a shitty Vegeta.
Yeah.
It's bizarre with freaking Sega. I've said this joke like a million times, but it becomes more prevalent every time. Sega is the worst thing to happen to Sonic because they just keep making mistakes for like the people who actually are like working on Sonic most of the time know what they're doing to an extent, and then Sega's just like, but what is this, and it sucks.
The problem with it is that they keep focusing on like what to do with the characters and not what to do with the games, at least like in terms of gameplay.
Yeah.
I have no idea. It feels like they're more concerned about how the character is rather than how the game plays.
Yeah, that's
at least
that's
I think with Frontiers, we can kind of see them trying to give a shit about how the game plays again. But
and it was super successful. Like that game sold really well.
Yeah, and I can see why.
Apparently, that was also going to be like, if this game didn't work, we were just going to stop making Sonic games.
Jesus Christ.
And you could kind of feel it.
Yeah.
Like, the two times Sonic has gotten to its weirdest were, like, the two times, like, I don't think this game has a future. It's bizarre. So
it's definitely a history that Sonic as a character and as a video game is the most wild fucking history ever.
It's so bizarre. And I kind of love it. I've grown up with it. I've read all of the Archie comics twice.
What gave that away?
Oh, I don't know. The autism, maybe. I'll be real. There's a lot of stereotypes with autistic people that are just like kind of rude. The Sonic one's right on the nose, though. Like I gotta fess up to that. Like, that's just how it is with us. That one's just real.
Fair enough. All right, let's end it. You didn't really talk about your speculations about. Well, you kind of just built off of mine. But what are your actual like thoughts on the new SonicXShadow Generations remake? What are you looking forward to? What are you afraid about it?
I'm afraid,
stuff like that, and then we'll call it from there.
I'm afraid if I look up SonicXShadow on the internet, I'm gonna get pictures of them kissing.
I mean, that was going to happen regardless, even before this game was announced. Like,
no,
that's already set in stone, bud. Who's going to tell him?
Funny
who's going to fucking tell him?
The name is so funny because like that's the first thing everyone said. It's like, dude, this is the worst name you could.
It's canon.
Dude, there's a search engine optimization, and then there's this search engine de-optimization.
Jesus Christ!
It's really funny. But no, like the best thing they could do is lean into the whole this is Shadow's nightmare of like his identity. Like talk about like his weird experiences and how he's been kind of all over the place.
Okay. So it's a major opportunity to redeem the character.
I don't even need a redemption. I just need to address it. Just talk about it. It doesn't need to be like I've been shitty this whole time. Like I just want to represent that because people like me who do care about the history of the character exist. We're there. We're not everyone. Like I'm sure there's gonna be people like I don't care. But I would like to see that exploration. I'd like to have fun with it. Like be weird. Like and from what I've seen of the level design, it looks like they're not just doing the simple boost levels. Like there's definitely some boost stuff there. But like I'm watching the trailer again in the background.
It looks like they're kind of leaning into his powers again because he was teleporting around.
Yeah, they show some really cool stuff. And I'm like,
yeah,
go farther into that. I like the weird, like, Doctor Strange style, like, friggin' kaleidoscope world that he's falling through.
I think giving Black Doom another chance to be a character again is also a really cool idea.
Yeah, if you make, like, Black Doom, like, kind of a point of, like, PTSD for Shadow, I feel like that could be really fun to play with. Like, it doesn't need to be, like, super realistic or, like, super sad, but, like, actually playing with it is like I'm haunting you, Shadow. You didn't kill all those 35 puppies in level 3.
Yeah.
Just like mess around with it. It'd be a lot of fun, and that would make it worth it to play just for that. Unlike the DLC for Sonic Generation for Sonic Frontiers,
I wish they would have just if that's the like. I hope they redo something with the original Sonic part to make it seem like a more full new game rather than reselling the same game with a tacked on bit, or the Shadow bit better feel like an actual extra whole ass game on top of it. Because even like the original Sonic Generations, first playthrough blind, you could probably get through that entire game in about 4 to 5 hours.
Yeah, which to be fair, I finished Sonic Adventure 2 like friggin'. I think each of those stories is like maybe 2 hours long.
Yeah, but you knew what you were doing.
I also
didn't
know
that
what
game
I was
how
doing,
many times?
I
bet as a kid it probably took you about
20 times maybe.
I bet like as a kid that probably would have taken you at least a weekend to beat. And honestly, like back then, like if I could play a game for a weekend, then that was worth the purchase. Even to this day, actually, if you give me a good game that takes me about 2 to 3 days to beat, good game.
Off topic a little bit. Like hearing the term like 100-hour game just puts me off so much. I kind of just want something I can go through and enjoy.
But then you gotta evaluate the price concept of it,
and that is a real problem. But I've definitely been like, because like a lot of the time when you hear a 100-hour game, I just hear bloat. I would rather a game be all killer and no filler and be like 2 hours long.
True. That'd be another topic for another constant.
Yeah. I feel like that'd be a good episode 3. Episode 2 is already going to be. What were we saying for episode 2?
Assassin's Creed.
Yeah,
that's gonna take. I'd rather do the 100-hour game concept because there's so much to look back at.
The two are very close. The two are very close when we're talking about the topic of bloat in games. Like, holy
I'm sure,
shit.
but like, if we're gonna dive into Assassin's Creed, I want to like dive into like lore, character, like the concept of it all. Like, and that's there's a lot to go through, so we're probably gonna have to like plan that one out a bit more.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey is like a 200-hour game that is actually
I'm not playing that game.
That is actually only 10 hours of good gameplay.
I'm not playing that game. I've tried it. It's fucking terrible. It's so bad.
So bloated. It's the fact that Assassin's Creed Mirage was just like, yeah, this is gonna be a much shorter and smaller game. It was actually the most interesting part of a new Assassin's Creed game, was just being like, oh yeah, we're going back to the basics.
Shit.
Like, thank you.
Okay, well,
that's an episode.
I think that's a good place to call it. Thank you guys for listening, and hopefully we'll have an actual name for this podcast for episode 2.
Remember to kiss your dad in the lips.
Yep. Goodbye.